Dorothy had a list. She brought it to every doctor's appointment, a folded piece of paper, written in blue pen in neat handwriting. High blood pressure. On medication for 11 years. Digestion that had become unpredictable after 65. Sleep that broke apart at 2 a.m. and never fully returned. A fatigue that sat behind her eyes like something heavy. And underneath it all, in smaller letters she almost hadn't written because it felt too vague to say out loud, just not feeling like myself. Every doctor looked at the list. Every doctor addressed each item separately. One for the blood pressure, one for the gut, one for the sleep. Nobody ever looked at the whole list and said, "Dorothy, these may not be 4 separate problems. These may be one." That connection, the thing linking her blood pressure to her gut, to her sleep, to her fatigue, has a name. It is called the vagus nerve. And what I am about to show you today may be the most important thing no one has told you about your own body. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the human body. It starts in your brainstem, travels down through your neck, branches into your heart and lungs, and continues all the way into your stomach, intestines, liver, and spleen. Scientists call it the wandering nerve, from the Latin vagus, meaning wanderer, because it reaches into almost every organ you have. Think of it as the main cable between your brain and your body, running in both directions simultaneously. Here is what most people do not know. About 80% of the signals in the vagus nerve travel upward, from body to brain. Your body talks to your brain far more than your brain talks to your body. The strength of that conversation, scientists call it vagal tone, shapes how you feel every single day. High vagal tone, flexible nervous system. Stress recovery is quick. Digestion flows, inflammation stays low, sleep is deep. Low vagal tone, the nervous system gets stuck in low-level alert. Heart rate stays slightly elevated. Digestion slows. Inflammation creeps upward. Sleep fragments at 2 a.m. And here is the part that connects directly to Dorothy's list. Research published across multiple peer-reviewed journals confirms that vagal tone declines with age. As we get older, the fight or flight side of the nervous system begins to dominate. The rest, digest, and recover side, governed by the vagus nerve, gradually goes quieter. This is not a rare condition. It is a documented part of aging. But it is also changeable. Before I show you how, I need to tell you about a study published on Christmas Eve 2025 that stopped researchers cold. On December 24, 2025, a study was published in Science Translational Medicine, coordinated by the Sant'Anna School of Advanced Studies in Pisa, involving institutions across Italy and Europe. The finding was stark. In an animal model, when the connection between the right vagus nerve and the heart was severed, the heart aged more rapidly. Cells deteriorated faster. The organ lost strength. When the connection was even partially restored, the deterioration slowed. Cardiac function was preserved. The lead researcher, Professor Vincenzo Lionetti, said this: when the integrity of the connection to the vagus nerve is lost, the heart ages more rapidly. Not the heart weakens with age. The heart ages more rapidly when the vagus nerve weakens. Science Translational Medicine. December 2025. And separately, the Whitehall 2 cohort study, tracking over 2,700 people for more than a decade, found that lower vagal tone in midlife was consistently associated with faster cognitive decline in later years. Your vagus nerve is not just managing your digestion, it is influencing the speed at which your heart ages and the rate at which your brain declines. Now, can vagal tone be strengthened after 60? The research says yes. And what surprised researchers is how simple the tools are. No prescription, no device, no gym. One of them you can begin right now, sitting where you are. I want to be honest before we continue. Much of the aging and vagal tone research is observational. The association between low vagal tone and poor health outcome is strong and consistent across many independent studies. Confirming direct causation in humans takes larger trials over time. What the intervention research does confirm, a 2025 meta-analysis in Frontiers in Cardiovascular Medicine covering 34 randomized, controlled trials and 434 participants, is that specific. Practices measurably increase vagal tone as measured by heart rate variability. The direction is clear. Here are 3 tools. The first is breath. Slow, deep breathing at approximately 5 to 6 breaths per minute. Inhale for 5 seconds. Exhale for 5 seconds. A 2021 study in Scientific Reports found that a single session of deep, slow breathing significantly increased vagal tone and reduced anxiety in both younger and older adults. The effect was larger in older adults than younger ones. 1 session. Measured, significant. Every slow breath at that pace is a small pulse of vagal stimulation. The mechanism is documented and measurable. 5 minutes in the morning. 5 minutes before bed. Inhale 5 counts. Exhale 5 counts. That is the whole instruction. The second tool is your voice. The vagus nerve runs directly through the muscles of your throat. When you hum, sing, or gargle, you activate those muscles, and activating them directly stimulates the vagal branches, running through them. A study in the International Journal of Yoga found that chanting Om activated the vagus nerve and produced measurable calming of the brain's threat response system. Gargling vigorously for 30 seconds works through the same mechanism. Think of it as the muscles at the very back of your throat, the ones that tighten when you swallow or cough. Contracting those muscles sends a direct signal along the vagal branches running through them. It is the same reflex. Doctors check when they test your gag response. 30 seconds. A direct signal to the vagus nerve. Hum while you do dishes. Sing in the shower. Gargle after brushing. You are not making noise. You are training a nerve. And then there is the third tool. This is the one that surprised me most when I first read the research behind it, because it takes 30 seconds, it is completely free, and almost nobody connects it to their nervous system health. The third tool is cold water. 30 seconds of cold water on your face triggers the mammalian dive reflex, a response present in every air-breathing vertebrate. When cold water touches the face, particularly around the eyes and nose, the body begins immediately to slow the heart rate. The vagus nerve drives that response. Research published in PMC found that cold facial exposure produces immediate, measurable heart rate drops. No cold plunge tub needed. A cold splash at the bathroom sink. A cool damp cloth over the eyes and nose for 30 seconds. Every day. Every day builds vagal tone the way daily steps build cardiovascular fitness. 5 minutes of slow breathing in the morning. Humming while you cook or wash the dishes. Cold water on your face at the bathroom sink. 3 minutes of your day, trained into habit, compounding every single week. That is the whole practice. Dorothy's daughter found this research 8 months after Dorothy's symptoms had begun to worsen. She brought it to her mother's apartment. Dorothy put on her reading glasses and read for a long time. Then she looked up and said, "Nobody ever told me any of this." They started that evening. 5 minutes of slow breathing before dinner. Humming while Dorothy washed the dishes afterward. Cold water on her face at the bathroom sink each morning. 6 weeks later, Dorothy told her daughter something she had not said in years. "I slept through the night. Let's bring this home." The vagus nerve is the wandering nerve connecting your brain to your heart, your lungs, your gut, and your immune system. Its strength declines with age, and research from Science Translational Medicine in December 2025 found that when it weakens, the heart ages more rapidly. But it responds to training. 3 tools backed by published research can begin strengthening it today. Slow breathing, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, 5 minutes. Daily humming, singing, or gargling. Cold water on your face each morning for 30 seconds. Dorothy is 73. She sleeps through the night most nights now. Her most recent blood pressure reading was the lowest in 6 years. Her doctor asked what had changed. She handed him a piece of paper, not a list of symptoms this time, a list of what she had learned. Your body has not stopped responding to care. The vagus nerve is proof of that. Please share this with someone you love who has been told their symptoms are just part of aging. Because sometimes they are not 4 separate problems. Sometimes they are one. And before you go, here is what comes next. Everything across these videos, your gut, your brain, your vagus nerve, these systems share one master regulator. A rhythm, a biological clock ticking inside every cell of your body. It controls when you sleep, when you wake, when your immune system is strongest, and when your heart is most vulnerable. When that clock falls out of sync, as it quietly does for almost every adult after 65, the consequences reach into every system we have discussed. In the next video, I am going to show you the simplest, most powerful way to reset it. It takes less than 10 minutes. It is free. And almost nobody over 60 is doing it at the right time. Subscribe and hit the bell. I will see you there. Take good care of yourself.